Hey guys, just wanted to hop on here and do a quick refresher tutorial for you guys, um, just on a couple of things that we touched base on in class this past week. The first thing that I want to do, basically at this point we're imported. If you need help with that, refer to the previous module, and there's a tutorial on importing your images into Lightroom Classic. From here, I'm just going to use one of these galleries that I've worked on my computer, and this one is the one, same one that we used in class, promo session that I did for my friend Josh King recently. So I just wanted to basically start by renaming the gallery that came in by default with the date that the photos were taken. So by right clicking on that, I'm going to go down to rename. I'm just going to change this to Josh King Feel Good Promo. That's the name of his new album, is Feel Good. So I hit save, and you can see over here it is renamed this album to Josh King Feel Good Promo. It's a good way to keep things organized. As a refresher here, I'm going to, if I scroll through these images, and there's one that I like. Now, some of these I've already doctored a little bit, but any of the ones that I like, I can kind of, like I dig this one. So I could push any number 1 through 5 on my keyboard to rate it while I'm in my library mode here. So this one, let's say I gave it a 4. I just pushed the number 4 on my keyboard. And as you can see down here, it puts a rating underneath it. So first thing I like to do when I go through these images is kind of rate everything that is one of my favorites. So this one I really dig, so I'd make that a 5. I'm doing this kind of quickly, but don't want to bore you to death here, but kind of show you guys how this works. Dig that one, do that one as a 5. And you can see I've already rated some of these previously to 5s and 4s. So again, just push the number on your keyboard. So then if I wanted to just see the images that I'm interested in working with, down here in the corner where it says filters off, I can click on that drop down menu here and switch it to rated. And then I can choose my minimum rating, say here where it says greater than or equal to. I can select that and say 4 is my minimum, so I don't want to see anything less than that. So from several of those images, these are the ones here that I'd chosen. So just quickly wanted to go, so basically if I had these images here that I wanted to work with, again, if you guys get stuck when you're in library mode, you can see down here while you're in library mode, down here you have the thumbnail view and then the larger screen view while you're in library. So you can toggle back and forth between those accordingly. So let's say I wanted to make a little collection out of all of these. So if I scroll down here on the left side under my galleries, I have an area here called collections. So for this, let's say I want to make a new collection. So I hit that plus sign here, create collection, and we'll name this one Josh King Feel Good Selections. And I'm not going to include selected photos just now because I want to show you how to put them in there manually. So from here, while I'm in, again, I have my filter on for these rated ones. If I go to Command A, I can select all of these that are in this filtered view here and click, and I can drag them over here to the Josh King Feel Good Selections collection there. And now when I click on that, sorry, I must not have moved them. I had a text message come through when I was doing that, and they must not have gone. So give me just a second. I got to scroll back down to my collections. So Command A again to select all of them. Drag them over here. drop them. Now they're in there. So now if I click on this selection, all of those that I had rated are in there, even with the filter turned off, as you can see down here. So it's a good way to make your selections of the images that are your favorites and move them into a separate working space without deleting them from your gallery. All of these images are still in the gallery that I set up here at the top. See? So if I go into this, all those images will be there. See? Everything's still there. But if I go down to my collection that I just made, you will see only the selections that I have there that I want to work with. So from there, the biggest thing that we talked about in class was I'm going to go to one of these photos. I should have probably selected a couple that I haven't edited yet. Here, let's do this one. I haven't done anything to this one yet. So we were talking about white balance, and I introduced you guys to the most helpful tool that I use in Lightroom, which is the white balance dropper tool. And basically, if you take this tool and you click on something that is a neutral tone, it'll then balance the white balance between the temperature and the tint sliders here to where that is a neutral tone. So long story short, for those that weren't in class, I want the light and the glow from the arcade games to kind of come into play in this image. But if you look right here on the side of this image here, there's a white and gray kind of graphic on the side of this machine that isn't getting hit by direct light. So I'm actually going to use that as my reference point. So I grab the dropper tool up here and come and click in the white or gray area there, and it'll balance the colors in the white balance for the temperature and the tint in this image to where that reference point that I just clicked is neutral now. So super helpful. Anything that's white, black, or gray works really well for that. I never, like I said in class, I never really do that and just say, okay, that's perfect. But I use it as a starting point a lot of the times to then kind of fine tune things to the way that I like them. And from here, I would just do some basic adjustments like we did before with highlights, shadows, depending on how much of that background information I want, contrast. Remember, contrast is separation of your whites and blacks and how much dynamic they have between them there. And, I have the vibrance turned up on this to really kind of showcase some of those colors, but I don't want it something stupid and ugly like that. But it's okay to fantasize things a little bit. You just want them to be believable. So like a plus 20 range or something like that can kind of fantasize this arcade situation a little bit. But yeah, let me pull up another one and show you that dropper tool again. So for this photo, for example, we looked at this one in class, and the reference point that we used was the side of this machine in the white here, because again, it's not getting hit by arcade lights. So if I hit that, that's where it starts me. And when I edited this, I wanted it a little bit warmer than that. So I just went and kind of fine tuned it a little bit to make it a little more warmer, to make his skin a little more orange rather than blue. So he looks a little more alive. And then the rest of it, to taste here with these sliders for your highlight, shadows, whites, blacks, contrast, vibrance, saturation. Remember, vibrance is the concentration of a color, and then saturation is the amount of a color. So vibrance will just kind of like really boost the colors or mute them a little bit. But like I said, if vibrance is all the way down, you still see colors. But if saturation's all the way down, you do not. That's the easiest way to tell the difference between the two. All right, so from there, just quickly, I could take this also. You see here's a white area or this paper that's on the front of the change machine. I could hit that and see I get a slightly different reading, but it's making to where that point that I just clicked is now neutral. Same thing on this machine back here. even though this one has a little bit of orange glow coming off of this machine. But see, that's a different reading. But you can kind of mess around with it and then fine tune it from there. But it's a really, really great shortcut to get you in place there. So another thing that I mentioned is a very quick preset that you can make that I do when I'm processing batch images like this is when I finish this one, I'll go Command C. And this will basically give me all these options that I want to copy. And I'll add white balance in there. Most of these you won't know what they are yet, and that's okay. We haven't gotten there yet. But if you shoot in similar lighting conditions, you can copy. Once you have one dialed in to the way that you like it, you can just go Command or Control C if you're on a PC, copy. And then I could go to the next image here. That's this one. And I can do Command V and drop those exact same settings on this image. Super handy, cuts out a ton of time when you're processing a series like this. Okay? And let's say for this photojournalism assignment, we need 8 images. So let's say I want this one. I'm holding Command and clicking these. And this one, and this one, and that one, that one. What do we have there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's say these are my 8 finals that I decided on. Select those, go to export. It's going to go to my desktop. If it's not set to your desktop, you can do that, or however you choose to route these. I'm going to put it in a subfolder, but I need to name that subfolder. Josh King, Feel Good, Final Images. So you could name yours, photojournalism, photo 1 or something, whatever the project name is probably the easiest way to do it. And then down here in file naming, I'm going to use custom name sequence because I want to number them. And I'm just going to call these JK underscore feel good underscore, and then start with the number 1. I'm going to hit export. And you can see up here that it's working on these. It's exporting these 8 files. And when it's finished, I'll be able to go to my desktop and I will have a folder with these 8 JPEGs in it that I can compress and upload to Moodle, and my assignment is complete. And just as a refresher, I'm going to do that really quickly here at the end before I log off here, just for reference again. So minimize that. And now if I go over to my desktop, I have the Josh King Feel Good Final Images folder here. If I open that, I've got 8 images. You can see they're numbered 1 through 8. I can take this folder and right click it on a Mac or PC and go to compress, or on a PC sometimes it'll say zip. And I'll compress this folder. This shows up here as a compressed folder, this zip file, as you can see. Upload that to the project folder there on Moodle, and that's it. So hopefully this helped you guys out. I look forward to seeing everything you captured on this project, and I will see you soon.